Wacky Wednesday.
From a toy mouse singing the words pedophile instead of jingle bells, to a CSI lab kit containing asbestos, we count 20 of the worst toys ever recalled. Number 20. Holiday Toy Mouse. The toy in the pictures above was pulled from the shelves by a Chinese toy maker Hermat after reports came flooding in that the mouse sold primarily in the UK sung pedophile instead of jingle bells. A spokeswoman for the company said that the problem was that the man who provided the toy's voice couldn't accurately pronounce certain words, and when the speed and pitch were increased, it just sounded wrong. The toy maker recalled the mice, just in case anybody took offense. Number 19. Battlestar Galactica Missile Launcher. In 1978, Mattel launched a series of Battlestar Galactica toy missile launchers, known individually as the Viper. In 1979, a child reportedly died after choking on one of the missile launchers, prompting Mattel to recall all BSG models and to suspend production. Number 18. Plush toy Uterus. Aside from being a little strange, this squishy pink Uterus plush looks pretty innocent, but when the manufacturer performed a pull test, they found the toy didn't pass. They released a voluntary call announcement and stated the ovaries may detach when pulled, becoming a potential small part choking hazard for any young child. There's a new version available now, and the huge Uterus plush promises to be bigger, fluffier, pinker, and now child safe. Number 17. Clackers. Clackers, which were marked under the multitude of other names, consisted of glass-like acrylic balls, each about the size of a plum, which swung on either end of a string. The idea was to tug on the middle of the string until the balls swung faster and faster, smacking each other above and below your hand until the motion formed a stunning arc. However, being made of glass, the balls were very heavy, leading to numerous reports of injury when they hit children's faces, and when the balls themselves occasionally shattered, causing lacerations. Clackers were pulled from the shelves in 1981, and later that year a mandate was issued that any future products be made with foam instead of glass. Number 16. Dive sticks. Dive sticks, manufactured by a number of companies under various names, are designed to stand up in the bottom of a pool after being tossed in. The idea is to dive in and pick up as many as you can before resurfacing. Dive sticks were recalled in 1999 after 6 reports of impalement and at least 1 facial injury. At least 12 million dive sticks were destroyed, replaced, or repaired before the product was redesigned. Number 15. Fisher-Price Power Wheels Motorcycle. These very dangerous but real motorbikes looked like a shiny motorized toy, but in fact they were quite dangerous machines. On certain models, the accelerator jammed and became stuck, leading to crashes and accident-inflicted injuries, such as lacerations, sprains, and broken bones. Fisher-Price recalled 218,000 Power Wheels motorcycles and took the toy off the market in the year 2000. Number 14. Pokeballs from Burger King. During the Pokemon craze in the 1990s, Burger King started to put Pokemon action figures in their kiddies' meals. Great idea, but what wasn't so great was the stick figure in the little Pokeball container. We still don't really get it, but several small children almost died when somehow they stuck half the ball into their face, covering their nose and mouth. We think the 3-inch diameter size was the problem here, and 25 million of these fun little death balls were recalled. Number 13. Hang 10 mini hammocks. Sleeping in a hammock isn't supposed to be a deadly pastime, but it was for 12 children between the years 1984 and 1995. The problem with these little hammocks is that they did not come with a spreader bar to keep the hammock bed open. This meant that the child could get it twisted around his or her neck when getting in or out. Some children were nearly strangled to death, and at least one suffered brain damage. A total of over 75,000 of these little death traps were recalled. Also, 10 other manufacturers recalled similar products with a total recall number of over 3 million. Number 12. Mattel toys. There were about 9 million toys from Mattel that were recalled in 2007 because of excessive lead. These toys were made in China, and it turns out that the Chinese like to use very deadly and illegal lead paint on some of the toys they make. There were also recalls for toys because of magnets used in their products. Apparently they were very easy for little ones to swallow and choke to death. The Mattel recall came just after the Fisher Fisher-Price infant toy recall involving lead paint too. One child even died from them. Number 11. The yo-yo ball. In the early 2000s, there were more than 400 reports of near strangulation of little kids with their happy yo-yo ball. Apparently, they would somehow wrap the stretchy cord around their throats. And Consumer Reports stated it knew of at least 17 cases of kids blacking out because of it. One girl almost choked herself to death with the yo-yo ball while performing the helicopter, swinging it over her head and then around her throat. After the incident, the Canadian and UK government said, "Screw this," and banned the damn thing. Although, you still can find them on eBay. Number 10. Sky Dancers Flying Dolls. The Sky Dancers Flying Dolls just sounded like a bad idea from the get-go. The idea of the toy was to insert your doll into the launcher feet first, pull a cord and launch the flying doll into the sky. Sadly, the flying doll flew into children's eyes and teeth. The toys received 150 injury reports, including temporary blindness, concussion, broken ribs, broken teeth, and face lacerations. They were fined $400,000 and the company was largely ruined. Broken ribs? What the fuck? Number 9. SNACKTIME Cabbage Patch Dolls by Mattel. These models were from the widely sought after Cabbage Patch line of the 1980s and 90s. The doll had automated jaws that would chew whatever was placed in its mouth, and after 35 tiny fingers were reportedly injured by the chomping doll, Mattel removed the dolls from retail shelves in 1997, although never formally recalling the product, and offered 500,000 customers a full refund. Number 8. The Chicken Limbo Party Game. Manufactured by Milton Bradley, the Chicken Limbo Party Game lacked sturdy support poles, so therefore, with the slightest touch, the entire apparatus could shake and collapse on participating children. After 46 reports of the game collapsing and causing subsequent injuries such as bumps, bruises, and welts, Milton Bradley recalled 461,000 units and suspended all sales in 2006. Number 7. Flubber. The parent-approved formula, that is Flubber, hit the shelves just before Christmas in 1962, and a few weeks later, complaints of kids with head-to-toe rashes, fever and sore throats were flooding the customer service departments. After lawsuits and an extensive FDA inquiry, the companies determined that Flubber caused a painful infection in people's hair follicles. After the recall, Hasbro attempted to incinerate the Flubber, but just found it released noxious black smoke, and it didn't really burn all that well. Number 6. Skippy Pool Toys. Kids were supposed to launch this plastic fish across the water by pulling the tongue of the fish. This would cause injuries to the hands and sometimes even torn fingers and thumbnails. Any toys these days that are supposed to be used like a slingshot is probably a bad idea. Number 5. Aqua dots. The Chinese can sure get themselves in hot water. In 2007, US safety officials had to recall over 4 million Chinese-made aqua dots because there was a chemical in them that made kids puke and even fall into comas when swallowing them. The aqua dots had a chemical that when metabolized would turn into a drug like GHB, a drug very popular with date rapists. And even 3 kids in Australia were sent to hospital after ingesting aqua dots. Number 4. Easy Bake Oven by Hasbro. Easy Bake toy ovens have been around since the 1950s, but a certain Hasbro model has a clear defect. The front-loading oven would trap tiny hands that were reaching inside of it, inflicting some 77-second and 3rd-degree burns to children's hands and fingers, and one 5-year-old girl that required a partial finger amputation. Hasbro since has recalled the oven and stopped distribution in 2007. Number 3. Atomic Energy Lab. The Atomic Energy Lab kit produced by the American Basic Science Club came with real samples of uranium, which, if you didn't already know, is radioactive. Since the mere presence of radioactive material in a children's product clearly wasn't insane enough, some of the experiments detailed in the manual also required kids to handle blocks of dry ice, which, by the way, has a temperature of minus 109 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's recommended that it only be handled while wearing gloves, although in this kit, none were included. Number 2. The CSI Crime Lab Kit. Just before Christmas 2007, an asbestos victims organisation announced that testing it had commissioned had found potentially lethal asbestos fibres in the fingerprint powder of the CBS Broadcasting's best-selling CSI Crime Lab kit made for kids. But after 2 years later, after prodding from a judge presiding over a nationwide class action suit on the contaminated products, was the CSI Crime Lab kit recalled. Number 1. JARTS. JARTS are definitely the granddaddy of all toy recalls. These little monsters caused over 7,000 injuries and even 4 deaths in the 70s and 80s. Original JARTS were heavily weighted so that they would stick in the ground. This feature would also cause them to stick in faces, eyes, and guts. The idea of the game was to throw them underhanded at targets on the ground, but from all the injury reports, it sounds like kids were doing something else with them, and this caused all lawn dart games to be banned in the US by 1988.